What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Once again, we are here for career mode episode number 30 for what race? What is it? Who knows? Have you guessed yet? It's the Italian Grand Prix. I mean, definitely wasn't stalling because I definitely remembered what race we are at. Anyway, make sure you check out the previous episode if you haven't already. That was the Dutch Grand Prix. Pretty crazy race in the end. Once again, some championship leaders in the mud, but most importantly, a very, very hectic race. So, yeah, definitely one that is not to be missed. Anyway, we're doing an upgrade to the build time for the durability department. I think that might honestly be the final department upgrade I do this season. I know I was talking about this in the last video, but I wasn't going to spend any more money. What have I done? I've spent more money. But that's the last time, I promise, because now we need to save for Daniel Ricciardo. Yeah, it's getting serious. But that durability upgrade was the last thing I needed to do, because now I want to start to do other things. Now that the car is coming along, durability will be the next focus as we get towards the ceiling of our performance this season. Anyway, we had a brake failure upgrade, not go on the car, so that is going to be sorely missed for the Italian Grand Prix. The car is so fast in a straight line, we need the brakes to back it up. So, yeah, the braking distances are going to be a little bit longer than the AI, and as such, dive bombs might be a little bit tougher compared to those guys. In terms of the performance update, heading into this round, no real changes. Williams getting an upgrade. Haas as well moving forward, and that's about it. McLaren were the best car in the last episode, which I didn't even know. But there we go. McLaren are making moves, which is absolutely awesome to see. But anyway, we're into the weekend proper now, and this is one in which I think we can do really well. The Italian Grand Prix, it's a really strong circuit for me over the years, and it really suits the dynamics of the car, I'd say. We got one of the best engines in F1. We got some drag reduction upgrades, which is nice. I think we did DRS recently too. So, yeah, I'm hoping for big things in this race. I'm hoping that we can legitimately contend for a podium on natural pace this weekend. That's how strong I think we are. Who knows? We might even be able to get more out of it. Okay, so here we go for qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix. We put in our best engine for this race. I think we have a column or so that's either got nowhere or very, very low wear. And that'll hopefully give us a bit of a boost in performance against some people who are maybe struggling at this point in the season. Anyway, we get through Q1 fairly nicely with just the one run, I believe. P10 in that session. And now here we are. Pretty much towards the end of Q2. We're currently down in P14, but we are putting in a better time on new tyres now. So hopefully we'll be able to vault ourselves into the top 10 and really challenge the top teams in F1. We're currently up by 0.6 as we round the end of the second sector, heading into the Ascari chicane. Absolutely fly it through there. I've actually got it really hooked up and got it over to the right-hand side so I can open up the final part of Ascari. And that picked me up a lot of time. Into the last corner, Parabolica, 8 and a bit tenths up as we round the final corner and head up to the line. Is this going to be anywhere near the top 10? Yes. Yes, it is. It's P9. Moving on. Rosberg doing pretty well there. 9/10 off pole position. Solidly into Q3 with P6. And McLaren... no shock there. They're the car to beat this race weekend. They are, as well as us, very, very potent in a straight line. They've got all the engine upgrades. They've also got a very slippery car when it comes to drag reduction. So they are a team that is not to be underestimated. Anyway, this is our run in Q3. We have 2 sets of tyres saved for this session. So we should be able to get a lot out of this session. As you can see, we run over the curb.
The underbody's taken some damage. I suggest we box so we can check it out.
We run over the curb and it looks like we've got some floor damage. So that's a first for me this weekend. I didn't know that you could get floor damage from that. It didn't even look bad. I just ran over the grass ever so slightly and a bit of curb, and that was all she wrote, it seems. So just checking the left-hand side and the right-hand side of the floor. No damage to be seen, so it must be literally like the diffuser or something. The diffuser fences or whatever you call them at the back of the car that's been lodged off or something. So that's a shame. We're going to press on. We are going to have a little bit of drag now with that damage, and the rear end is going to be a little bit lighter, so it's going to be a bit more energized. So oversteer is going to be a bit of an issue. But we negotiated the Ascari chicane, which is the most contentious part of the circuit for car balance. Up to the line, we do a 16.9, which is the best time I've done all race weekend. And it's going to take a couple of minutes for the team to fix the damage. But unfortunately, there's only 3 minutes left.
Car repairs have set us back a little.
So that is going to be our session, guys, unfortunately. 7 seconds left. We're literally going to miss out on getting a time in by about 20 seconds. If we had an extra 20 seconds, we would have been okay. But got demoted to P9 in the end. A lot of people improved, including both the McLarens. It's pretty much Noah's Ark right through the top 10, with Red Bull the only ones ruining it. But yeah, there we go. Disappointing quali. It's not how I wanted to end. We definitely could have been further up. Let's go to the race.
Welcome back to one of only 2 countries that has held a race every year since the very first Formula One World Championship in 1950. It is, of course, Italy, one of the great racing nations. And it's time to get underway for the Italian Grand Prix. With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and P2 goes to Daniel Ricciardo, a strong showing from the Australian. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas, and Perez, Sainz, Leclerc, Benjamin, and Nico Rosberg, Gasly, Vettel, Lance Stroll and Russell, Ocon, Tsunoda, Marcus Armstrong, and Antonio Giovinazzi, Tigtum, Latifi, Mazepin, and Mick Schumacher.
Now that we've got some points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Thanks, Jeff. Here we are on the grid of the Italian Grand Prix. We're getting towards the second half of the season now, where you'd expect some grid penalties to be cropping up. But none of such really saved us today. So starting position is P9. We are limited to the soft compound tyre to start this race. It's going to be an easy one, stop to mediums. Strategy isn't going to be too varied up and down the field. I don't imagine anyone's going to use hards today. Monza is one of the lowest tyre deg circuits on the calendar, so surely it's going to be a simple one. 5 red lights, and we are underway for the Italian Grand Prix, and it looks like a pretty good start for us. Let's see if we can pull down the pants of Ferrari down into turn 1. No, I've got confused and pulled my own pants down. Heading into turn 1, trying to regain the places we lost, and it looks like it's been pretty successful there. Getting up the inside of Sergio Perez there, side by side out of there, and it looks like Sergio is going to have the better drive from the outside line, and we're just going to tuck into the slipstream of the Red Bull. We should have the overspeed, being that the Red Bull is one of the slower cars in a straight line. He is going slightly defensive, so we'll go right around the outside into the middle sector chicane, and that is a pretty decent start after what was, well, a pretty bad one off the line. So I will definitely take that recovery. As you can see, that was Charles Leclerc just squeezing the Red Bull onto the grass. I'd be surprised if Perez didn't have any damage there, because that was relatively moderate contact there between him and Leclerc. Hopefully he's okay for his sake. You can see Sainz and Hamilton going side by side into the Ascari chicane. Look at the amount of ground that they've lost with the top 4. That's going to take some recovering, especially if this battling continues. Sainz looking for an avenue around the outside into Parabolica. Thinks better of it. This is not the time or place to be squabbling. You guys need to work together. We all need to work together to catch up to the race leaders, because if we don't, we're going to get lost very quickly. The McLarens are very, very strong in the races. And here we go. We're going to size up both of these guys. Hamilton on the mediums. That's why he's slow. Round the outside. Turns to the inside for the next left-hander. And we've got P5 now. We're ahead of the championship leader, Lewis Hamilton. In fact, we are the championship leader. It's a three-way tie at the top of the table, no less. That's why you needed to see the last episode. So, yeah, we've got ahead of one championship rival. The next is leading this race, I believe. Daniel Ricciardo. Here's the replay. Hamilton pinched on the inside, and it was a bit conservative from him there. He left a lot of space. Unlike his real-life counterpart with Max Verstappen at that very spot. But there we go. Ricciardo dropping down the order. He's now been overtaken by Valtteri Bottas. He's on the medium compound tyre too. So it wasn't Ricciardo who was leading, it was Lando. And Lando, as such, at the same time that Bottas overtook Ricciardo, Lando lost the spot to Verstappen. So here we go, next lap. This is Carlos Sainz trying to overtake us, and then he quickly realizes, uh-oh, I don't have as much straight line speed as the Marduk Motorsport car. I'm going to tuck back in. So that's exactly what he did. P5 for us for now. Nice to see that even with all Ferrari's resources, with all their horsepower, they still can't overtake us in a straight line with DRS. That's got to be frustrating. So we can breathe easy with response to the guys behind. As long as we don't make any mistakes, we should be okay to keep our position relative to those guys. It's the likes of the Mercedes and the McLarens that we need to worry about being overtaken by, because they're the strong ones in a straight line. Anyway, here's the battle pack. It's Verstappen versus Norris. They're continually swapping places every lap at turn 1, doing a bit of leapfrog every time, possibly working with each other, but it's not really very effective because they keep going side by side at the apex of turn 1, and they're inviting everyone else back into the fray. So I don't think these guys are collectively working together. They're squabbling, and their squabbling is inviting literally half the field into this fight. So let's see if we can get involved. We are in the slipstream of Ricciardo. We do get DRS. We're not exactly strong through the high-speed corners. Ascari, Parabolica is not too bad, but Ascari is a bit hit and miss for me. The car doesn't behave the best for at high speed. As you can see, we got put under pressure by Sainz there. I had to really, really lean on the brakes to stay ahead. And here's the replay. The Ferrari's got better brakes than us. So if he's close enough, and if Carlos is brave enough, he can get the job done. But yeah, that's why I needed to get the brake upgrade on for this race, because that is where we're vulnerable. The 1 or 2 corners over the course of the calendar, and turn 1 at Monza is one of them. We're just too fast for our own good. We can't stop the car. Anyway, last corner. Had to squeeze off Sainz a little bit. Had to discourage him from actually overtaking us there, because we're on the bubble of losing DRS. We can't afford to do that because these guys are still fighting. If they all of a sudden stop fighting and collectively work together, they will pull away massively. So we just want to stay in the fight here, because the longer we do this, the better it's going to get for our race with our tyre wear upgrade. So we're in the slipstream, we're in the DRS. It's crucial we don't let Ricciardo get into the lead, because he's the one who's going to finish so strongly on the softs by the end of the Grand Prix. Providing that's the strategy that he's doing. I hope that he's doing that for his sake, because if he goes on the hards, that would be a terrible strategy. But anyway, Bottas trying to get past the Australian. That doesn't quite work out. And here we go with Lando and Verstappen. This is going to end in tears. Sooner or later, those guys are going to take one too many chances. And with the proximity of all of us behind, we're probably all going to get cleaned up in that. So, lads, keep it clean. They're still side by side up there. This is amazing. We're sizing up a move on Bottas. He goes defensive into the middle sector chicane. And that's
Brilliant. Nice move.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Jeff. Thank you very much. That was a brilliant move. Here's the replay. As you can see, Bottas going defensive. He just, yeah, didn't brake late enough there. Not enough bravery there. And even us with worse brakes, we were able to get the job done. Actually looked like contact there between myself and Bottas. I'm showing you so many replays just to show that it wasn't contact. It looked like contact when I was driving at the time, but it certainly wasn't. Anyway, middle sector, Bottas very strong. That Mercedes has a good amount of downforce. That's a bit of a wobbly moment there for me, and I might be under pressure as we head into the Ascari chicane. We're riding on board with Daniel Ricciardo. Lando NORRIS has gone for the move up the inside into Ascari. It does not work there. It does not work there, and that's why you lose so much time going side by side at a high-speed corner, The AI have learned nothing over years and years of squabbling at this place. They're killing each other's Grand Prix, and we're just chilling in behind. We're saving fuel. We underfueled the car by like nearly a lap, and we're just lifting and coasting. We're short shifting. We're cruising at times, but we can't exactly afford to cruise now as Bottas has run up our chuff. It's 3 wide for the race leaders, and Ricardo has actually got himself into the lead on the medium compound tyres, so he's phasing in well. Our soft runners are starting to lose pace relative to him, but it's going to be interesting to see as we see a VSC. Ocon is out. Latifi is out. And the safety car has now been upgraded to a full course one. Here's the replay. So what's going on down here? It's not a failure because there's multiple people out of the Grand Prix. Someone loses the back end. I think that was Ocon. Is that Latifi who runs into the side of him? It's hard to tell because of that replay. We'll have to go back and see it again. But this is the onboard with Ocon. He completely loses it with DRS. Shifting the weight balance at high speed. And then one of the Haasers, out of nowhere, just drills Ocon. What? That is the last thing you should be doing under safety car. Under yellow flags, that is the worst decision you can make as a Grand Prix driver. Here's Latifi. We didn't exactly see what happened here. It's a very similar scenario. He just drives straight into a crashing car. That is brilliant driving right there. Top tier stuff from some of the best drivers in the world. Amazing. Safety car has been deployed, and we are going to take this opportunity to box. Everyone is, including Ricardo on the medium compound tyres. So the AI are dynamic with their flexibility with strategies. It's going to be a double stack for McLaren. We will be able to gain some positions on those guys. I think Red Bull and Mercedes are also going to double stack. We might rejoin in a very strong position here because we're at the end of the pit lane. Here we go. Good stop, boys, please. 2.9 is not great, but it's good enough to get us ahead of Bottas. So we are now effective P2 in this Grand Prix. Here's the replay. Look at all the double stacks for Ferrari, for McLaren, for Mercedes, Red Bull. The Alpine guys just ghosting through a Ferrari as well. Top tier gameplay here on the Tiametmarduk channel. Lots of realism at play. And here is Norris. Norris has been in the box seat to win this race the entirety of this first stint, and now he's double stacking behind Ricardo. And now he's having to wait for people in the fast lane to go past. Norris is going to be at the back of the grid here with that turn of fortune. Meanwhile, my teammate, Nico Rosberg, is like P7? P6? Something ridiculous like that. He's lucked his way into a great position. He was outside the top 10. In fact, I think he might have made an early stop. Potentially. Or was that? No, I don't think he went an early stop. Ignore me. He was definitely back in the pack. But now, he's in the fight to get some big points in this race. And this Italian Grand Prix has been completely turned on its head. 15 laps to go. And the state of play is us on medium compound tyres. The AI playing it safe. They haven't made it to their target window. So they've switched to the hard compound tyres. That is very, very tasty for us. This is where the tyre wear upgrades are really coming in clutch for us. So here we go. Safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. It was the exact same scenario in the last episode. Us versus Ricardo. We weren't good off of our safety car restarts, but we are going to try and rectify that in this week's episode. Away we go for green flag running. We're going to have the massive slipstream of Daniel Ricciardo as we head down the start-finish straight. He's obviously deploying literally all of his battery, and we can't get anywhere near him. We especially can't outbrake him with our brake, or lack of brake upgrade. Yellow flag behind, I'm not sure what that's for, but the AI obviously going very slowly through the first chicane, as you would expect. Hopefully there's no crashes back there. It seems okay on the mini-map, but Daniel Ricciardo absolutely stretching clear in the lead of the Grand Prix. This is the very first lap on these new tyres for everyone. Much less Ricardo, who should be a second a lap slower than me. These medium tyres are brand new and should have their biggest advantage literally right now. But we're going backwards. We're now going to get overtaken by Valtteri Bottas. Here he goes on the start-finish straight. We were able to keep a Ferrari behind. And it looks like we're going to be able to keep a Mercedes behind. At least on the straight anyway. He outbrakes us into turn 1, but we have the inside for the second part of turn 1. And that is job done for us. P2 for the time being. We're going to have to get our act together if we're to make any inroads on Ricciardo. Hopefully the tyre wear upgrades are good enough to get us back into this. Maybe the tyres were too cool. They didn't feel cool on the restart. They actually felt fine. So I think it's just Ricciardo having sublime pace at a track he's obviously very good at. So this is going to be a tough one if we're to make any inroads on Ricciardo. Maybe if we're lucky, we've got better ERS deployment than the McLaren, but it's unlikely. George Russell is out of the Grand Prix, and it looks like there's another safety car that's been deployed. Here's the replay. Again, it's AI that are just going way too slow into corners that they shouldn't be doing. Like Perez has... okay. Perez has gone in a bit too slow into Ascari, and then George Russell is just... He's not even slowed down for the corner. He's just not even registered that there's a Red Bull in front of him. He's now out of the Grand Prix. I have no doubt in my mind that Sergio Perez has got some kind of flaw or diffuser damage. If I can run over a curb, or what is even like a millimeter high curb and get damage, then Sergio Perez getting clattered into it 200 miles an hour has definitely got some kind of rear end damage, for sure. That Red Bull might be undrivable for the rest of this race. I certainly wouldn't want to be piloting that thing to the end of the Grand Prix. Anyway, 9 laps left. We are burning fuel in an attempt to keep this car light. I may or may not have had a little peek over in the replay cameras. Oh, the safety car's coming in at the end of this lap. That thought is going to have to hold itself for the time being. We need to get underway for green flag running and get a good run on Ricciardo. That completely caught me off guard. It was a very short safety car, and as such, Ricciardo has got away even better than the first time. Brilliant. I am never going to get a clear run of this guy. He's so good at the restarts. Or more or less. I'm just terrible. I'm not good at the game. Clearly, I need to get good. Anyway, here's a replay. That is Verstappen making up so many places, but the Toro Rosso, the AlphaTauri, moreover, gaining a million positions into turn 1. Can I see that again? I need to see that again. I have lost count of how many cars he overtook. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do I hear 6? 5 cars into turn 1 for Yuki Tsunoda. That's move of the day. That's move of the year, move of the century. He's now in the points, I think. And there's another yellow flag back there. Someone else might have crashed or had some kind of reliability failure. This race is much like the last Grand Prix in Zandvoort. It is really kicking off. The AI, I don't know what they've had for breakfast this morning. It's a McLaren going slowly. It must be Lando Norris. He is out of the Grand Prix. His horrible luck continues. He was squabbling with Max Verstappen for the lead of the Grand Prix. He looked out and out the clear favourite to win this race. He had so much pace. And yeah, that's horrible just to see all that pace wasted with a failure. Do we have another yellow flag? It looks like someone else is retiring. I think it's one of the Haas cars. We're going to have to see on replay who that is. I think it's Mick Schumacher. Is it Mick Schumacher, the guy who absolutely steamed into... No, it's Mazepin. It's fine. So, yeah, the Haas's are both in the wars today. I still can't believe they did have 2 of them running after Schumacher absolutely steamed into the side of... I don't know who it was. I think it was Ocon in that crash earlier. The fact that he's still going on sim damage is remarkable to me. But we got 4 laps to go in this Italian Grand Prix. And somehow we've managed to claw back some pace on Daniel Ricciardo in the dying laps. Maybe it's not tyre wear. Maybe it's fuel. Maybe the McLaren is recovering so much fuel, or is not burning as much fuel as us, that they're just getting heavier and heavier each lap that goes by. Because that was something that I was going to touch on. The AI have got about 4, maybe 5 laps extra fuel on board than me. I've only got 0.7 of a lap over. So these guys are going to be weighed down by like 5 tenths a lap. I think it's a kilo per tenth, or a tenth per kilo. Either way, we're having a go at Ricciardo here as we go around the outside into the middle sector chicane. Ricciardo very vulnerable, and we get the job done. I think we managed to catch him napping while he was trying to recover some ERS for the back end of the race. And unfortunately for him, he's lost the lead of the Grand Prix, so...
The underbody's taken some damage. You may start to notice it.
Oh, not again. Not again. We've done the same thing in quali. This ruined our quali. And this might well ruin our race. We've got floor damage again. I can't see anything on the diffuser fences on the rear end. But there is definitely floor damage. And that's going to give us a little bit more oversteer at high speed. And it's going to be that much more draggy. I can't see anything on the damage indicator, but it is there.
We think the underbody's incurred some slight damage, but nothing too serious. No tyre concerns at the moment. Just focus on the driving.
Okay, let's pray that it is nothing too serious and we'll be able to keep Ricciardo behind. We are now in the box seat to win this Grand Prix. 3 laps to go. Gap is 2/10. We do have the fuel to defend. Do we have the ERS to do the same? As we head into turn 1, Ricciardo not close enough on this occasion. He's going to be mega fast on the straights, but they'll also have the downforce in the McLaren car to back it up. As I said, in the last race, heading into Zandvoort, they were the best car, and they are certainly the fastest car on track at this Grand Prix. That's our first warning. Might be second warning for track limits. As you can see, Daniel Ricciardo coming back at us, heading into the Ascari chicane. He goes right round the outside and makes the move stick. How has he done that? That's not even a heavy braking zone, but he's made it stick unbelievably on the hard compound tires. Here he goes with the replay. He just completely gazumped me, as Into the Barrier would say. Ricciardo now leads the Italian Grand Prix with 2 laps to go. Have we got any response in this race? We do have the floor damage. We do have the fuel advantage. And maybe the RS and the tyre advantage. But I tell you what, he's got the car. So, yeah, we'll see what we can do. In these last couple laps, this is when the AI are really going to up the ante with the ERS usage as well. They're going to gun for a fastest lap, especially on lap 27. So, if I'm to have any chance of winning this Grand Prix, I need to get Ricciardo. I basically need to be leading on the last lap. Because if I'm trying to chase, I think it's going to be near on impossible on lap 27. So, we need to get as close as we can, heading into Parabolica, and then hopefully have a go at turn 1. That might hopefully win us the race, but we're not exactly close enough at this stage. A little bit of oversteer through the Ascari chicane, and still 6/10 is the difference between ourselves and Ricciardo. He is losing a bit of speed at the top end of the straight, so maybe conserving a little bit of battery. Has he maybe expelled it a little early in an attempt to get into the lead, and maybe he's got nothing left? I guess we'll have to wait and find out. Last lap of the Grand Prix. We got the DRS on Ricciardo. Do we have the fuel? I mean, that's a rhetorical question. Ignore that. Heading into the first chicane. Nice run out of there. We mounted the curb beautifully, and we're all over his gearbox. So this has to be the chance that we go for to get the lead of the Grand Prix back in the slipstream. In absolutely no DRS. Overtake mode is engaged, and you can see Ricciardo defending to the inside. Purple to the first sector as we go right around the outside of Ricciardo. We've made it stick, and he lets us go. But the race is not done yet. There's still 2 more DRS zones to end this race. Technically 1, as the second one will only get activated as we cross the line. But here we go. Nice run out of Lesmo 1 and 2. This is where Ricciardo was strong just a couple of laps ago. He's going to try the same move around the outside, but we're going to go as late as we dare into this Ascari chicane. We might even crash. No, we haven't. We've kept the lead. Ricciardo is still in P2. We absolutely stretched everything we could out of the tyres and the brakes there, and at the same time managed to not get a track warning or penalty. Last corner, and it looks like we're going to hold on to the lead of this Italian Grand Prix to get our second win of Season 2. We are now the championship leader.
Right, I think maybe I can start turning some of these assists off.
Great job. You've done everything we wanted today.
Boom. Race win. I'm done. I'm so dead after that.
A hard-fought win today then, after a very difficult race. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Taking care of the car was absolutely vital today. It's been obvious all weekend that the pace was there, but look at the attrition rate we've had. they would have been very concerned about any minor anomaly towards the latter stages of this Grand Prix.
The faces on our top three look so incredibly happy as they make their way up to the podium.
What?
Deserved victory.
Rosberg's on the podium too. Where did that come from? It's a double podium for the team. That's unbelievable. I was so distracted by the battle for the lead that I've not even noticed my teammate on a charge to get on the podium. How has he done that? From 10th on the grid, he actually got driver of the day. That is unbelievable. Nico Rosberg, take a bow. What a result for the team. Second win of the season, second win of the career mode. And I tell you what, we had to really risk it in those last few laps, particularly that last Ascari chicane. Ricciardo all over us. And really should have overtaken us. I thought he was going to overtake us. I don't know how he kept it off the track limits. I don't know how he kept it off the side of Ricciardo. But we won. We now lead the championship by 7 points. Ricciardo P2, Hamilton 13 behind. Norris not having a good day. Neither was Bottas. Verstappen, I don't know what happened to him. But we moved up in the constructors to P3. Some 2 points clear of Red Bull. I don't know what to say. That was a mental Grand Prix. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. If you did, make sure you smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. I think in terms of a battle, that's got to be the race of the season. We were fighting someone who clearly had a better car than us this weekend, at least by a few tenths. It was, I guess, the tire advantage that we had on the mediums. And like I said, I think there was a massive discrepancy with fuel. And as well, Ricciardo probably struggling with ERS in the latter stages. You could see how much I was gaining on him at the end of the long straights in the last couple laps. So I think he was really struggling on that front, which is a surprise considering how strong the McLaren or the Mercedes power unit has been in the McLaren. So I'll take it. I will absolutely take that. And from here, that gives us so much confidence. We have a buffer to the cars behind. We have a championship lead in what is essentially an upper midfield car. This season is crazy. I can't wait to see what happens in the following races, but we need to continue to upgrade. But we're getting towards the end of this car's upgrade path. We need Spec 3 upgrades. I can't do Spec 3 because I need to save for Ricciardo for next season. Many dilemmas. I'm just going to continue to wring the neck out of this thing, and hopefully we'll still be in the championship picture. But there we go, guys. That's it from me today. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one, I'll see you next time.
Things are looking up after last week, aren't they?
Yes.